And we are back with another Shacknews Game of the Year 2022 deliberation. And we love our electronic sports here at Shacknews. We've done our own electronic sports tournaments. We talk a lot about electronic sports. And as such, we like to have a esports hero category each year in our Game of the Year deliberations. And that's just what we're going to do. We're here to talk about some great electronic sports players and their stories and why they deserve the win. What do you all say?
Yes.
I say yes.
All right. Where to start? Who would like to start? Anyone? Anybody? Any takers? TJ, would you like to start us off?
Sure. So at Evo this year, there were a lot of high tier players for Guilty Gear, a lot of like old hands, a lot of new blood, and a lot of just like people that have been in the scene for a long time. And none of them won because UMISHO showed up. So this is a person.
Umi showed up.
Yeah. She has not much of a history in fighting game tournaments. She played pro in Overwatch before making the jump over to fighting games this year and picking up Guilty Gear and picking up like the most the most Overwatch character for like a person that focuses on first person shooters. Happy Chaos. Happy Chaos has been a controversial character in Guilty Gear Strive because there's people that can use that character okay, and then there's people that can use that character super annoyingly. It's a character with like a pistol that you can draw at nearly any time and hit the opponent from anywhere on screen if you have certain conditions set. And for a lot of folks, that's a problem because he can essentially zone you and keep you at bay and not let you have a chance to play if he does it properly. UMISHO's play of Happy Chaos is completely different from anyone I've ever seen play the character. She was moving in close, using like close combat, using Happy Chaos's normals. He has a dodge roll where he can move through the character and move behind him. She was using that in ways I'd never seen anyone use to mix up her opponents and knock off some serious competitors. She beat like in the span of the top 8, they had one of the best Nagaryuki players in the world, one of the best Zato 1 players in the world, who is an obnoxious character to play against. He uses a shadow, and you have to fight against both him and the shadow when somebody's using him well. Played against a Mei character who is a heavy hitter and just easy to lose against if they got the momentum. And she beat them all with like incredible finesse. And like there was really like some matches were kind of close. Some people started to figure her out a little bit, but nobody really ever convinced me that they were going to take a set off of UMISHO. And like to come into this scene with no history of wins in fighting game tournaments and just take the biggest one of the year. That's an and I know she's got history in Overwatch, but that speaks to me as like an everyman who wants to compete and wants to have that and wants to continue to strive to be my best. UMISHO is convincing that somebody can pick up this genre, and if they really care about it, they can win at Evo if they have a good day.
Now, TJ, my question for this is because I'm familiar with the Chris G strategy in Marvel 3. Like this player, is it like a legit cool thing to see that takes a massive amount of skill, or is it cheese? Like the question.
It's utilizing the cheese in a way and that nobody else does. Like I said, the general routine cheese that Happy Chaos does is he wants to put you at full screen so he can just spam gunshots over and over and over and over again, and you have to work to get in on him. And then if you do get on him, he pushes you away, and you just have to start the process over. UMISHO differs in the way that she was moving in on enemies and like playing them at close range, playing them mid range, playing them at long range, playing to weaknesses that Happy Chaos has, and just overcoming them thoroughly. Like that UMISHO is largely the reason, I would say, why, in addition to other things, why everybody thinks that Happy Chaos is broken. And I don't think that character is broken. I think UMISHO is broken and played that character perfectly.
Shoot, I was muted. There we go. Well, sweet. Yeah, that's always the underdog, like coming in the underdog, right? And then working your way up. That's like some of the best esports stories out there. And that actually brings me to a team that I want to nominate on behalf of Asif and myself, and that's Tundra Esports. They won the Dota 2 International this year. $8.5 million purse they took home. And they're only the second team in Dota 2 history to sweep the finals. Like they went 3-0 in the final game. But like not only did they do that, but they basically came back from being like completely like broken this. They went through a collapse. They were really favored early on. The highest they had placed through a bunch of invitationals and tournaments this year was third, and then they dropped down from being in like the lower top 10 to being in the lower top 20s, and things were not looking promising for them. But they came from behind. They didn't really. They dropped 5 games during the finals, but they didn't lose a single game. And it's because apparently what they did was they basically took time to take care of their mental health and not just push themselves to grind through the game as much, right? Like they changed their mentality. They also focused on their strategies more, and they came back clean. They also just had really good picks throughout the finals. Like they got the heroes that they wanted. They never really had any trouble making their way through the international until they had the trophy. Like they weren't a team that people were favoring at that point. But they came up, and that is an insane $8.5 million. God damn. $8.5 million for being the best Dota 2 team. That is an insane amount of money. That buys a lot of tacos. Let me just say that. So yeah, I wanted to nominate them. Tundra Esports. I think that what they accomplished is pretty remarkable, considering there were a lot of other teams people thought were going to take home that trophy, and then for them to just have a clean sweep like that is really impressive. And these are really long matches. Like Dota 2 matches do not end quickly, as anyone that's played more traditional MOBAs knows. So yeah, it's quite grueling. Yeah, so that's my nomination. Let's see. We have at least 2 more nominations here. So let's see. Donovan, who is your nomination?
It's another one from Evo. I nominated IDOM, plays for XSET. I watched a little bit of Evo this year, mainly just this guy play. And he pretty much had an awesome run through the losers bracket in Street Fighter V, I believe it was. He got knocked out early and then just ripped through losers bracket, made it all the way to the finals. I believe he was playing as Laura, and just watching him compete and the hype surrounding him, you could feel the energy in the arena. I was following along on social media. People were rooting for him just to see somebody repping the US at Evo make that crazy of a run. And it ended up coming down to like the last match of the final set, something like that he lost. But it was kind of what I walked away from Evo this year with was his performance. And I watched him at Red Bull Kumite last year. He's just an amazing competitor. He's so cool to watch play fighting games. He's always so calm and very humble, even when losing. So I'm definitely nominating IDOM for my esports hero this year.
Yeah, I would say Item's also got like he's one of the few people that actually still uses Laura pretty consistently in a way at a high level that I don't see a lot of other players get away with. So shout out to him.
He went against Daigo in his top 8 run, and everybody loves Daigo, and I have never heard more people root against Daigo than the IDOM Daigo match at Evo top 8.
Yeah, he's definitely a beast. Well, I think I had the last nomination here. I went with Cuddlecore, who was a guest on our show here, Why World of Electronic Sports. I go with Cuddles because she had a solid year this year. Won Summer Jam, took home first place, but she also is just a good voice in the community. She's always both encouraging for people trying to get started in the Tekken scene, but also she streams on the side, so she does a lot of other content as well as commentary and such. But I'm big on people who are involved with the esports side, showing their community side as well, and that being something that she's always been big on, but really seems to be taking off on this year of both some of the Red Bull events and afterwards, and just overall her attitude towards bringing new players into the game and being helpful in that regard. Sometimes she does streams with just open lobbies and stuff like that just to get people kind of into it, despite having a busy pro schedule full of travel and such. So really love what she does. She's hit the Forbes 30 under 30 as well, just for both the esports and gaming scene, but again, for all the community work she does too. So that's my pick. Obviously, a little bit biased since we had a great conversation on the show, but yeah, she's doing some great things out there.
Man, you forgot the most important thing, Denny. She's a Ling Xiaoyu main. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, good on her for doing all that work, and putting in the hustle and grind. But the fact that she plays the greatest character in Tekken, that's kind of.
I'm not going to comment on that side. All right, I won't start any fights. There's plenty of Tekken characters out there.
There are other good Tekken characters out there, but I think if Cuddlecore has proven anything, it's how great Ling Xiaoyu is.
This is true.
Yeah, I've been a Ling Xiaoyu main for a long time, so I appreciate that aspect of Cuddlecore's electronic sports career as well. All right.
We have one more nomination in here, and I would it's on behalf of Morgan, and I would be remiss to not bring this up because this was an incredible thing this year. Eric ICX. Not only did this dude win the 2022 Classic Tetris World Championship this year, which he's been in the scene for a few years already. Like he came in top 24 in 2020 and top 32 in 2021. So he's come close a few times. This was the year he finally did it. And not only did he do it, he achieved something in Tetris that nobody else has pulled off. And this is like a decades old game. On the NES PAL version of Tetris, he achieved a max out that glitched the level colors. And and he was the first person to do it with a world record and on like video.
Oh wow.
So like an incredible achievement in this, like it's something that nobody's ever seen in this decades old game. And to be able to achieve a new height in a game that people have been playing this long is just dang cool.
That is dang cool. And Tetris is like such a good game.
I was happy to see them make their comeback this year after the pandemic, because I went to the Tetris Championships in 2019, and that's an experience unlike any other. I absolutely love competitive Tetris, and I was unfortunately not able to catch the big championships this year, but anytime you get competitive Tetris, it's a lot of fun, and it always falls under the radar of a lot of competitive players. And
Just watching
don't sleep on
Ozzy,
Tetris, man. Tetris is loads of fun.
Yeah, and I love stuff like this, like old games where like there's still something new to be discovered or seen. I think that's what's so great about that era of arcade games. It's not necessarily about a narrative. It's about a drive to achieve a high score and be the best like at the game.
What really amazes me about Tetris is that these are kids. These are like 16, 17-year-old kids who are excelling at a game that came out long before they were born. We're talking about like 1989 NES Tetris. And the game just keeps evolving more and more. And I remember when I went to 2019 and I interviewed James Chen, who everybody knows for Street Fighter, but also is like the voice of competitive Tetris. And he asked me if I competed, and I'm like, yeah, I got a score. He goes, that probably would have been like top 32 like a couple years ago, but now it's like not even like top 200.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's. Oh, go ahead.
To reiterate what Ozzy was saying is that, like, I mean, when we were with you at, I think it was GDC, Ozzy, and we're like, Ozzy, play some Tetris Effect, and you're like, oh, I'm not prepared. You sit down, and Ozzy's a pretty chill guy. It gets intense in the entire hotel when we start surrounding Ozzy. He's just like, no, you don't, and he just starts. It's something about that game just gets a.
I think
huge
that was
audience.
Tetris 9. Was that Tetris 99?
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I'm no longer the best Tetris player on staff now that Morgan's joined us.
Morgan's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, and there's Ozzy's right.
Ozzy's
right. There are a lot of young slayers in the scene right now, and it's impressive. Like, and I made a mistake that I want to correct. He got one of the first max outs in the PAL version of Tetris. He achieved the color glitch in the NTSC version of NES Tetris, and he's the first to do that.
Yes.
And he currently holds the high score, like the world record high score.
Like, it's one thing to see like kids picking up Melee, where it's like, okay, that came out like maybe 5-10 years before you were born. Like Tetris, the NES Tetris is like your parents were kids when this came out, and you're not only picking up this game, but you're the best in the world. Like that's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Tetris at that level requires a level of concentration and reflexes that is just insanity.
5-8 shot of.
So yeah, that guy definitely deserves a nomination. He was incredible, and he had a great year, and he made it made a great year for Tetris Esports.
Oh yeah, and we do love some Tetris here at Shacknews. But with that, I think that's all the nominations and all the deliberations, which means we have come to a moment of voting. I'm going to start with Bill Lavoie.
TJ got me. UMISHO.
Sam Chandler.
I've said it once and I'll say it again. I always look to TJ as an authority figure when it comes to fighting games. Anything that surprises him earns a vote in my book. So UMISHO.
UMISHO. Man, I'm a little conflicted. For now, I'll let you know that Morgan, of course, voted for Eric ICX. David L. Craddock, are you ready to vote?
I'm conflicted as well, but like Sam, I look to TJ for this category just across esports in general, and I'm going to vote UMISHO.
Denny.
Yeah, I'm still gonna show Cuddle some love, but I do agree that UMISHO's run was pretty awesome, especially competing pro in 2 different sports. But yeah, I love me some Tekken, and Cuddle's doing great for the scene, so I'm sticking with Cuddles.
All right, you know what? I'm throwing my vote to Cuddlecore too. Ling Xiaoyu mains got to stick together. Donovan.
Stick with my boy Idom.
All right. Gregums. All right. Now let's check our absentee votes.
About my vote.
What? I don't. Nope. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I guess. Okay, TJ, who do you vote for?
I think I'm gonna go with UMISHO.
Big surprise there.
I was close to actually switching to Eric because that is legitimately impressive. What he accomplished for Tetris Esports.
I'm gonna go even farther. I am going to switch my vote. I was going to say UMISHO. I am switching to Eric.
All right. Morgan, we already cast your vote for Eric ICX, but do you want to say anything on behalf? Do you want to try? I'll allow you a chance to persuade everybody that just voted. I'll allow it.
I mean, in terms of like Tetris Esports, Eric, just incredible player. I feel like every year we get another player with the CTWC that's just phenomenal. But this year particularly, like I really was not fully expecting the sweep. Like when you look at the qualifiers all the way up to the finals, like Eric just sweeped it. And I was just very impressed. Like I think it was Eric as well who posted the video with the glitched colors as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Which is also incredible because that's never been shown before either. So like in terms of record breaking this year, I feel like Eric has just swept through the Tetris scene like a tornado and just which I respect. Like incredible player. Yeah, and for people who haven't watched the CWC, if you watch clips of Eric, you'll see just like the precision, the timing, just hats off for sure.
Chef's kiss. All right. Well, if anybody wants to, I'm going to let everybody think about this while we tally the absentee votes. So first off, Asif voting for Tundra Esports. Yeah, they really did something impressive, and that is a lot of money.
A lot of scratch.
That is a lot of Skrilla. A lot of cheddar.
A lot of tacos.
A whole lot of tacos. Steve voted for UMISHO. And I think that means we have tallied all the votes officially.
Yeah, I was going to say I was already conflicted between Eric ICX and UMISHO, but I have an affinity for NES Tetris, and Ozzy plus Morgan swayed me, so I'm going to switch my vote to Eric ICX.
And you were for UMISHO before, right?
Correct.
All right. Well, it's unfortunately just a token gesture, David, because UMISHO still wins by one vote. UMISHO is our electronic sports esports hero of 2022 here at Shacknews.
That's the back, that's Bates Summers, and there it is, your Guilty Gear Strive Evo champion, UMISHO!
The gun to get the one.